Now, how do we assign those roles to the users? How the assignment of the roles happens in a real life scenario? Okay, so in a real life scenario, to whom we assign the roles? We assign the roles to employees, or mostly employees, or contractors, or any other kind of person, right? Now, so when we hire an employee, when you create an employee, how the role assignment happens? How the role assignment happens? So, do someone has to add the role explicitly or manually, or does the role should be assigned to the user automatically? How the assignment should happen? Okay, so that is called role provisioning. How the roles will be assigned to the user. Okay, take an example. We have a user. We are hiring an employee whose job is actually whose job is a financial analyst. Example. So when we are hiring an employee whose job is financial analyst, so in our company we have created a job role which is specific to financial analyst people. So that job role has to be assigned automatically to the user, or someone has to manually assign to the user. So how that auto provision happens and how that manual provision happens. Okay. So assigning it manually means who can assign it manually? Can manager of that employee can assign it manually, or administrator have to assign it manually? Okay, so these things are called provisioning, how this provisioning of the roles to the user will happen. So we are going to discuss about those provisioning scenarios briefly in today's session. Okay, before going to provisioning, I haven't covered one kind of a role called abstract role. Okay, so we have covered data roles, duty roles, job roles, aggregate privileges, these things, but we have left one role called abstract role. So what is an abstract role? Okay, I left it purposefully while I'm talking about roles, abstract roles. What is an abstract role? Actually, abstract role represents a worker's role in the enterprise independent of the job the worker is hired to. So most of the roles what we have defined, most of the roles will based on the job, based on the job role, based on the job. Job can be human resource analyst, human resource specialist, financial analyst, or a financial manager, something like that. Some everything is based on the job, but there are some kind of roles independent of a job, though some of the roles will exist in any company. What are those jobs? What are the roles? Employee is one kind of a role. Okay, employee is one kind of a role means every person in the company has to be an employee, right? That employee will have some set of activities to do. Example, that employee has to enter the timesheet, that employee has to do the submit the expenses, that employee has to fill the benefits. Our employee will has request for the PTOs or for absence requests. So every employee in a company will have their own set of activities. Every employee will has to access their own set of screens, right? So those people, I mean, similarly line manager also is a typical, every person in the company can be a manager or an employee. That manager again will have some set of activities to do. That manager has to approve the timesheets of the employee. Line manager can give merit increases to the employee. So every irrespective of the job they do, the line manager will have the set of activities to perform. Okay. Similarly, contingent worker, nothing but a contractor. So what I mean is every employee role, or line manager role, or a contractor role, those things all they have same functional access on same level of data access. Same level of data access means employee can access his or her own data, contractor can access his or her own data, line manager can access the employees below them. So that data access is same. So these kind of roles are called abstract role. In HCM, we have employee, line manager, and contractor. In FSCM, we have employee, line manager, contractor, and a supplier administrator. Supplier administrator is nothing but who is responsible for identifying the supplier information, who actually maintains the supplier information. Similarly, CRM, we have a resource person who is responsible for maintaining the sales organization kind of stuff. So these are the predefined roles given by the Oracle, and these roles we can use it in our company if it serves our purpose. Okay, so below details, actual employee can do absence recording, expense entry, view slip, pay slip, view time entry. Similarly, FSCM supply administrator can do these activities, and resource can perform these activities. So this is an example what the actions they can perform. So these actions nothing but set of screens which this abstract role will have an access. And these abstract roles also bring the data access based on the way it got created. Okay, these abstract roles are there. So when employee is hired, okay, when employee got hired, then employee will get this employee role by default. If in our company, if this whatever Oracle employee seeded role is good enough, is completely serving our purpose, we can use it directly. If it is not serving our purpose, or it is bringing more information, or it is bringing less information, we can customize this role and add the respective privileges accordingly. Okay, so example, if I go and hire an employee, the system, okay, I'm going to hire an employee in the system, because in this instance has the HCM installed, and if HR is installed in the instance, then the only way to hire an employee is this way, or only way to create a user account should be hiring an employee. If the HR is not installed in the instance which we have provisioned, then we have to go through manage user account screen. Okay, so if HR is installed, then we have to go to new person and hire an employee or hire a contractor accordingly. So I'm going to hire an employee here, and I'm going to give them legal entity. So I'm going to, okay, so before hiring, I need to make sure I am an employee. HCM IMP11 is not an employee, it's an implementation user. So I'm just logging out, and I'm going to log in as a real employee, because then only my data access will work. I'm logging in some employee who has an HR administrator access, HR administrator role, and I'm going to my workforce, and I'm going to hire a person.
Lakshmi.
Yeah.
Just to know which employment is a real employee. How could we confirm that? Like just from this HR specialist role on?
No. If you go to the so it's the same. If you go to security console and search for that user will have the person number. If you go to security console and search for that user, look for the user and search, for example, I'm searching for HCM IMPL11, which I was trying to create. So this person number is blank here. This person is not an employee. Basically, it's just a new user that we created. Basically, if you open this user doesn't have any associated worker information. It is blank here. Okay. In case of go to any one example, this person Curtis Fiati. So if I go and search for this user, Curtis Fiati has some person number, manager, job, business unit, some information here. It means this person is an employee. And this person is an employee. Also, this person has some administrator roles. There's some roles which is application implementation consultant, some roles which is good enough to create a hire an employee. So that's how we have to find out.
This person number will be available for contingent worker also?
Yes, it will be available for contingent worker too. That's true.
Because when you told us to like how to create users, so for me, I created one user.
Okay.
The third class, when you were trying to hire an employee and it was not happening, then you came to this Curtis profile. So that day from what the user I also created, then I tried and I was able to create. So that's why I just asked this question.
Okay, so you created user without employee number?
Without, just a normal process. One user I created and then I assigned two responsibilities, like two roles.
Okay.
Like IT security manager and application interpreter.
So how did you create that user?
Similarly, as you told me.
Okay. 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 That's fine. Okay, now I'm hiring an employee, so I'll give some legal employer. So every company will have set of legal employees. So your functional specialist will set up that. So nothing to worry on that. So I'm going to create a user, and I'm going to create a user as Rainbow. I will say some financial analyst. I'm just giving the name like that for our convenience. So I'm going next. I'm going to enter the person information here, so I can give some zip code. So all this geography is enabled. It means that by doing the zip code, this information will pop up automatically. So and employment information, where actually typically here you will give the employment information of the employee, basically the job, grade, whatever. And the business unit we have to mention which business unit this person belongs to. It's again your functional specialist will set up it for you, your HR specialist set up it for you. So we have some business units here. US1 business unit I'm giving it, and so this person will be in some job, right? Every person will have some job and some department. So I'm going to give some a job. Let us see if we have any jobs with financial in this company. Yeah, they have something called, these are not roles actually, it's jobs, typical company jobs, okay? So I'm just giving some finance director job. I'm not giving anything else. And then I will, yeah, I'm not going to give anything else. I'm just going next. Okay. Some descriptive flex field someone has created, it looks like, for their testing purposes. It doesn't have any meaning. So I'm going next. So here in the next screen, typically the screen where the compensation and other information will come. If you go down in the other information, we have something called role requests. If you expand this role requests, do you see that there are some role assigned automatically? See that without assigning it manually, this role got assigned automatically. And it is saying that provisioning method is automatic. So this role came automatically here. So how this role came up automatically? Because we have set up a provisioning rules to assign this role automatically. So how it got assigned automatically, that's what we are going to see next. Okay. And if you see, there is one more thing called role request, add role. Whoever is hiring the employee, typically who hires the employee? Typically HR hires the employee. If HR of that specific country or HR of a specific division can hire the employee. While hiring the employee, they are also giving them provision to add the role here. They can also give additional roles to the user. Okay, if you click on a search, it may not show up all the roles what we have created. If you click on search, it will show some list of roles here. Okay, so let's see that. It means HR also can see that here is a list of roles what HR can add to the user. What are the list of, these are list of rules. So example, we have financial analyst. Is that role showing up here? No, it's not showing up here. Okay, so if there is any, we have created another role as well, like HR non-US specialist. That is one that's not showing up here. So only some set of roles are showing up here. Why only some set of roles are showing up here? Why only some set of roles are showing up here? Why not all the roles are showing up here? It may be because for this person, whoever is hiring, for that user, only these roles are given to be added to any user. Okay, this list is this is the list of roles what actually HR can add to this person. Okay, how come this list came up? And we are going to see that as well. Okay, so typically what does it mean? Whenever HR is hiring an employee, apart from employee role, do we need to assign any other role to this user? Then HR can go ahead and assign other role to the user. HR can go here and say that maybe this person is a payroll manager as well. I will assign payroll manager view all responsibility as well, a role as well. I can assign it. So it means we are giving a provision to HR, to add set of role, to add a role to user. While adding a role to the user, we are limiting what kind of roles can be added to the user. That is another provisioning rule. And we are going to see that how this list coming up and which role a HR can add to the employee while hiring an employee. Okay, this role, as you add it manually, it is called manual provisioning. And we are going to see how it is going to come up. Okay, so it is what typically happens in any organization if our company works in this perspective. Example, I'm going back. In our company, we don't want HRs to add any roles, or we don't want HR has ability to see what roles user got assigned. Adding the role or modifying the role, that maintenance is typically, if it is going to be taken care by another team, another security team or another administration team, then in that case, some companies will say that we don't want the role request to show up in this page. They don't want to show this for the HR in this page. In that case, we need to customize this one and to hide this region to not to show up to the HR or whoever is hiring. Okay, that we will see when we do the personalization and customization sessions. Okay, but some companies will allow the HR to see the whatever roles assigned to the user, and we are giving the power of authority to the HR itself to add any additional roles if necessary. It depends upon how our company works. But Oracle Fusion has given a provision to add more roles and to view the existing roles for an employee while hiring. Okay, next, and then submit. Okay, right. So if you see the employee there, that employee is an abstract role, and that employee abstract role is bringing some set of screens along with that. Okay, if you log in as this RP Financial Analyst user into the Fusion application, the RP Financial Analyst can see some set of screens, right? Some set of screens like, example, if I log out, let me reset the password of that person, RP Financial Analyst. How do I reset the password? That resetting password ability is not given to HR. So they have to go to Security Console. Typically, our security administrators will have access to the Security Console. Only they can reset the password. They can come here and you know the username is always first name dot last name. So I'm just rp dot fin. Where is our user? Yeah, so it's financialanalyst.rb. So if you open this one, see that person number is created for this user. Okay, so you created and we got 2 roles assigned here, and I'm going to reset the password. Okay, and another thing, to just see what screens that person has if only employee role is assigned, to check that, I'm going to take out this payroll manager role because I wanted to log in as an employee and see what employee role inherits. So I'm just taking it.
Actually, what is the use of locked checkbox?
If it's a lock, the user cannot log in actually. So if you want to revoke the access of the user, then we can lock it.
Then what is the use of active?
So active, inactive is different than locked. Locked means we are locking it temporarily, basically. So active, inactive, typically what happens, active, inactive happens automatically based on the, if employee has active assignment, the status will be active. And if employee got terminated or suspended for some reason, then this become inactive. So this checkbox happens automatically based on the employee status. But locked is actually for administrator who can lock the system for a while. Or similarly, we can enable the lock if person is trying to enter the username for 5 times, if it will go lock. So purpose, both the ways.
Okay.
So I am. So this person has only employee role. So if I log in as this person, then that person will have a list of screens which employee role will bring along with it. You see here, when I'm logging in, this person has some list of screens which this system is bringing along with. Example, about me. About me means here I can see my personal information. This is the list. This is the screens which comes along with the employee abstract role with a predefined data access, means where this person can see his or her own data. See that whatever address we entered for the person, that information is showing up here. This person has access to modify this information. Click on edit. This person has access to modify the personal information, address, or biographical information, or add the contacts, any dependents, spouse, or any children, anyone, they can add it, and they can add any documents like licenses, citizenships, passports, any other information, or they can, if they are disabled, then they can have the disability information. So all the screen access came by default along with the employee abstract role. Okay, for any reason in our company, we think that along with the employee abstract role, whatever employee Oracle defined employee abstract role, they think that, example, they should not have access to my workforce because the seeded employee abstract role bringing access to the screen. If they want to take it out, then we have to customize our employee abstract role, not customize basically. We have to copy the employee abstract role and create a new one. In that, we have to take out the screen access. Okay, they have to take out the example, whatever screens they don't want it to have. They have to take out that respect to duty role or aggregate privilege from employee abstract role and create their own custom abstract role. It's similar to what we have done with our job role. Similar to the job role, whatever way we copied the job role and modified it, same thing we can copy the abstract role and modify the abstract role as per our company needs. Okay, right. Now I'm again going back to the provision. How do this employee role came up automatically when our employee got hired? Okay, that is called role provisioning. So I am going again and logging in as an administrator, and I'm going to a screen where we can create the role provisioning. Okay, so to go to the role provisioning screen, either you can go 2 ways. If you know the navigation, you can go to the navigation and then get it. If you don't know the navigation, you have to go to setup and maintenance and search for that. Okay, so as I know the navigation, it is in my workforce and workforce structures. And in the task list, we have something called manage role mappings. Okay, so if you go to manage role mappings, okay, go to role provisioning screen, provisioning information. Okay, so role provisioning rules basically are also referred to as role mappings. Basically define an association between a set of conditions. Basically, we will define a condition is saying that if a person is an employee, assign a role. If a person is in this job, assign that role. If we define an association with several conditions to a job role or abstract role or data role, we can associate that. Okay, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that, here I can create a mapping. I'm going to create a mapping here, and I will say that, let us say I'm going to create let us say RB employee mapping example. Let us think that it's a brand new instance, and we wanted to create an auto provision rule such a way that if a person is an employee, how do we know if a person is employee? You can just take that if HR assignment status is active. Okay, if HR assignment status is active, and if assignment status is active, payroll eligible, then I would say that this person is active employee in the system, and I would say that if these two conditions are satisfied, then assign a role called employee. It's a serial role I'm assigning because we have to create any custom role for us. So I'm going to assign employee abstract role, and here I would say that auto provision it. It means that if anyone who is active and has an active payroll, then assign this role automatically. Same role provision might be existing already for this employee role. Okay, so example, I'm just canceling it. I can search for existing role mapping because I've already seen when we created that financial RB user, we have seen that employee role came up automatically. It means some rule is already defined here. Okay, so how do I get that? So what I will do, I will just search for the role name here and search based on that. So I'm going to search role name. I'm doing a search here. See that there is a role, employee role mapping with the mapping name as employee for the employee role is already created. Okay, so if I open this one, so it already saying that if you see this role, what it is saying, if anyone whose status says active, then assign this role. This mapping is already defined here. That is the reason, and it is auto provision. Auto provision in sense, it automatically get assigned. So whenever, that is the reason, as this role is, as this already exists, is active from 11/1951 to 12/31/4/7/1. It means it's active role mapping existing as of now. It is a reason whenever we are hiring an employee, this automatic provision is happening. Okay, so let us create a role mapping from our side, because we know we have created, yesterday we have created a role called financial junior analyst job role. We have created this one. So what my criteria is, okay, so if a person is active and hired in job as financial junior analyst job. If this person hired in this job, then assign this role. That's my criteria. I want to do this automatically. This is my criteria. Okay, I want to create a mapping for this. For that, what I will do, I am going to create a mapping here. Before creating mapping, I have to make sure that we have a job called financial junior analyst in our company. Okay, how do you make sure? Go to manage jobs here. Manage jobs, nothing but our company. We can see list of all the jobs in our company. So just go here. So I will search for all the jobs, start with financial. There is some job called financial analyst junior. So we have a job here. We have an active job with financial analyst junior. Okay, so my requirement is if an employee is active and hired in job financial analyst junior, then assign the role that we have created yesterday. That's what my requirement is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I am going to manage role mappings again, and I am going to create a manage role mapping here, and here I will say that Rainbow RB financial junior analyst mapping. Okay, so I wanted to give it from beginning of the time 1/1/1951 and end of the time I would say December 31st 4712. It is end of the time, and here I will say assignment status as active, and I will say job. Here we have job, right? Here I would say job as financial analyst junior. If this condition is satisfied, I wanted to assign this role. Okay, so what role I wanted to assign? I want to assign our role name. So our name is financial financial analyst. Starting with sorry.
I think we didn't create with the junior right now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we created with
Custom or copy?
oh, okay, customer. Okay, so contains
underscore CSA something control code.
Underscore
ESC.
CSC, GSC.
GSC. Yeah, correct. The code equal to not code.
Oh, okay.
Whole code. Maybe ends with yeah. Correct.
So we have many. So let me
Yeah.
we should quickly from here. Yeah, we should have followed the proper conventions. So
there you can change it to get date format in 4 ways.
We can change in the preferences, our preferences. So ours is copy, GL financials, job custom. No, this is the one.
Yes,
Top
that.
GL financial. Yeah. So this is the one. So it's not junior basically.
Then why did not come with it?
It's a name. So I'm going here and equals. Here. So I want to assign this job role to this user auto provision. Okay, so yeah, this is what I did. So now if I save and close, then I have the mapping. If these two conditions got satisfied, then if these two conditions satisfied, then automatically this rule should get provisioned automatically. Okay, and not only these two conditions, see that there are many conditions here. Okay, so we have many conditions here, and we can keep use of any combination of these conditions. Basically, is an AND condition. This one and this one should get satisfied to get this role provisioned automatically. That's what it is. Okay, click on OK.
And no need to assign this to any user or anything. Just create a emergency.
That's what we're going to see now. So as I said, it should be assigned automatically. If I am going to hire any employee now, okay, in that hiring in that job, then the job role should be assigned automatically. I just created a mapping role, a auto provision mapping role. It means that is a rule we define. That rule will get executed when that condition got satisfied. How that condition will get satisfied? When that condition will come, a person as active and job as financial junior analyst, that one will come basically when we hire an employee. Okay, so that's what we're going to see now. So what I will do, I'm going to hire another employee. So before hiring an employee, I have to do a small activity. Okay, so what I did now, I just did some change. I just created a role mapping in the Fusion Capital Management. Okay, whatever changes I have done, I have to send those changes to the Oracle Identity Management. How do I send those changes? I have to run this process. Push these changes and update the Oracle Identity Management with whatever roles we have created. Those roles will get updated in the Identity Management, and the roles will be created accordingly. Once those rules get created, again we are going to retrieve those changes back to the Fusion Capital Management. So these two roles has to be run. These two jobs has to be run now to get the latest changes into the system. So I'm going to run these two jobs now. Okay, how I'm going to run those two jobs? These jobs are Oracle given jobs, and these jobs can be run from Enterprise Scheduler service. So it's actually very important thing to understand, because Enterprise Scheduler, which is actually available in the tools and scheduled processes, which is not available here. If it is not available here, means this person might have hidden that. Go to this Springboard, and here you can see in the tools, there is actually scheduled process which is unchecked. Check it, click OK, because I know this person, this person has admin access. This person for sure will have access to that screen. Okay, so tools and scheduled process. The scheduled process.
Actually, I missed it. Why these two programs are running now? So we have created that role, right? That's right.
Yeah, that role is created in the Fusion Human Capital Management.
Okay.
Okay, whatever changes we do in the Fusion Capital Management should be pushed to the Oracle Identity Management.
Okay.
Okay, So once that is pushed to the identity management here, actually, identity management is the one which actually maintains the copy of all the users, roles, rules, everything. So once it is updated here, again, we have to retrieve those changes back to human capital management. It's a process actually, because these are two different servers. So we have to sync data between these two servers.
Okay.
Okay, so
means we have currently whatever mapping which we created in the Oracle Fusion capital management, and we are syncing that with identity management.
That's true. Yeah. Once we sync with identity management, we are again getting back the changes to whatever identity management is actual source for the user creation and source for the roles maintenance and everything. Actually, it's Oracle identity management is a single point of truth for everything. So this is the place, whatever information is there, that is what we have to refer everywhere. That is why I'm pushing the changes to here and again getting the updated information from identity management. It's a process what Oracle has defined internally. So this, in reality, production, these two things will be scheduled every day. Basically, they will run every day. That is the reason you don't need to run every time. This will be running every day. Only when you do a major changes in the role creations or the role mapping rules, that is the only point of time you have to run it manually.
Lakshmi?
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing, whatever we are doing, that is all human capital management only, right? Every roles and responsibility.
Now every time we are going to security console, right?
Yeah, okay.
Security console is not human capital management. Security console is identity management. When I come to security console, it means that I am in identity management.
Okay.
Okay, so security console, this screen, right? Security console screen means we are into the identity management. This screen is identity management. Okay. Only for role mapping, I just went to the my workforce and work structures, and there I created the role mapping.
See, means if you do something in a secure console, then no need to run those requests, right?
Sorry, I missed it.
No. See, if you are doing something in the security console, then no need to run those requests.
Yes, no need to run, because that is actually central point.
Direct in OIM.
Yes.
Apart from that, security console, if you are doing something in any other, like in my workforce anywhere, so then we have to run that to sync between Oracle Fusion, HCM and identity management. Right?
That's true. Yes, exactly.
Fine.
Okay. Sometimes what happens if you do it for first time, if you create a first time, example, any data role or role provisioning for the first time changes, actually Oracle has given a background process such a way that any first time changes will go to identity management automatically. Any updations, we have to sync the process. Okay. In our case, we have created the first time, but I always, for any changes I do in human capital management, I always run these two processes to ensure everything is in sync. It is the best way to do. So that's what I'm going to do now. Out of these two changes, first job is to send pending LDAP request. Second job is to retrieve latest LDAP changes. So I'm going to schedule process now. It is actually enterprise scheduler. This is actually typical in EBS terminology. It is called concurrent manager, where we can run any jobs. Okay. So to run any job, just click on schedule new process. And then just type LDAP.
It's a kind of SRS window.
Yes, SRS window, that's true. So we have LDAP, we have 3 jobs came up here. The first one is send pending LDAP request. So just select it and click on OK. So it requests manage request to create, update users, roles and grads in LDAP. That is identity management. Click on OK. So if it needs any parameters, a parameter window will open. So it will have 2 parameters. User type, all users are only parties, are only persons. I want to update all users. And back sizes, we have several parameters. So A means all the changes happened since the last run. Okay, so I'm staying batch size as A, and I'm just clicking on. So it is enterprise scheduler where actually we can notify, you can ask to notify you when this process ends. It means whoever user logged in, whenever this process completes, to this user, whatever email is there, to that email, a notification will go saying that this job is completed, a job is failed, whatever it is. And for your reference, you can mention the job submission notes like sending a lab request to Oracle Identity Management, something like that, and click on submit. But I'm not checking this notification because I don't know what is the email of this user. So I'm clicking on submit. Because anyways, we are going to monitor the status of the job in the screen. Okay. So keep refreshing it. It will show the status of the job. It's running. If this job hasn't run for a long time, then it's going to take some time to complete. So what this job will do, this job internally based on the number of requests pending, it will do the proration. Actually, it means it will create multiple threads. If there are more number of records to get updated, it create multiple threads dynamically, and then runs the threads parallelly. So it looks like it is succeeded. No, it's still running. So yeah, it is succeeded now. Right, it's successful. And if you click on that, in the bottom you can see that the process ID and status. And if you want to look at the log files, you can look at the log files.
Other one is output file.
Other one is output file basically. So every concurrent job we have basically it won't show up here properly. If we talk here, it will say the job status. What are all the users? We got how many got suspended or how many got. It will create the proration request ID basically, and then each proration request ID will handle the set of users separately. Okay, so keep it. Once it is done, next step is to run the pending LF changes. This job typically won't take any parameters. It just retrieves whatever changes are there in the identity management into the Fusion Capital Management. Click on submit. Okay, so before that, I need this parent ID because I have I'm going to show another demo, so I'm going to copy this okay, so let's refresh and see the retrieve latest LDAP changes job status. Okay, let me copy the actually pulling all the changes from identity management to the human capital management. So we are going to use this ESS screen very frequently, and I'm going to use this screen when we do automation. Similarly, when we want to schedule the BA publisher reports through ESS, and when we want to create the request sets, means we wanted to run the set of jobs parallelly or serially. So we are going to use the CSS job screen very, very frequently for everything. And this is the place actually where we have to schedule the jobs as well. I'm going to show how to schedule that. So,
Lakshmi?
yeah.
When we hired an employee, so that was not security council, right? That was
Human capital management. Yeah.
So after hiring the employee which was got created from human capital management, that came automatically to OIM, identity management, like, without running the LDAP.
At first time, as I said, first time creation automatically comes to the OAM. Any subsequent changes, typically we need to run this process. Yeah. There are a couple of more processes before release 12, and from release 12 onwards, they reduced to only these 2 processes. And we don't know, from release 13 onwards, even these things might go away. So it's just a safeguard to make sure our changes get affected while creating the changes.
Hi, Lakshmi. So now they don't call it concurrent program and content program manager.
No. Okay. So we need to call as enterprise scheduler.
Okay.
And any job in this is called ESS job. In place of concurrent job, we have to call as ESS job.
Okay. And there's a manager also.
There's no manager basically.
How we used to configure the concurrent program manager in EBS.
Right. So that is called enterprise scheduler. Enterprise.
ESS is an enterprise scheduler service.
Yes, that's right. Main is custom enterprise scheduler jobs actually. So ESS is what enterprise scheduler service. So to configure the jobs like how we do in the concurrent manager, concurrent programmer, concurrent executable, to do that we have to go to this screen actually. Main is concurrent enterprise scheduler jobs for the respective application. This we have to go to the screen to configure any of our custom jobs or to create any of our request sets.
Okay.
I'm going to show this.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah, it is successful. So got these 2. Now I'm going to. So all the data got synced between human capital management and identity management. Now, if we hire an employee in that financial junior analyst job, that role should get assigned automatically. So I'm going to hire an employee now. So I'm going to hire an employee, John Rainbow, and click next. I'm going to give some address line as RB headquarters, and zip code I'm going to give something. Don't have any zip code with that. I give this random zip code. So in the employment information, business unit is mandatory. So I'm giving some US business unit. here is important thing. We know this assignment is active assignment, active payroll eligible, and as the person type, we are hiring an employee, every new hire is an active employee. So assignment is active, we know that. But here we have defined if assignment is active and job is financial junior analyst. So I'm going to search for the financial junior analyst job here. I'm going to assign this job here. If these two conditions got satisfied, then that person should get, there is a DFF created, someone created DFF here.
No, see here, Lakshmi, my question is,
Mm-hmm.
we created the mapping, but no need to assign that mapping to any particular user or anyone. See here, we are creating that new employee, and we are creating the job. So as the condition was matched, so automatically that role is being assigned.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So my concern is like no need to assign that mapping to any particular user, because you said when HR is creating an employee, as that HR is having that privilege, so that automatically that role being assigned to that new employee. You said something like that, right? So how do you assign a mapping to a person?
Okay, so we are not assigning a mapping to a person. Mapping is actually works at the security, at the base security basically. So how the mapping works here is, whenever a roles are getting assigned to any user, or whenever a train stop goes to this other information, that is the place all the security rules will get triggered. When the security rules get triggered, one of the rule is mapping rule.
Achha, yeah, okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay. So when I go next, now typically whatever when we go into this step, then backend the workflow get executed, which actually evaluates the role control mapping rules here, and here we should get that new role whatever we created here. See that? Copy financial Australia primary manager role got assigned automatically. Why it is assigned automatically? Because this condition is satisfied. If we hire any employee who is not in that job, then this rule won't get passed and this role won't get assigned. Okay, so it means that this is how the mapping happens automatically based on the assignment conditions what we have defined in the mapping rule. Okay, so now next and submit. This person has the two roles got assigned. Now, in the mapping role, we have seen one more thing called manual. Okay, so we have seen that auto provisioning. Auto provisioning, we have created some conditions based on not the exact conditions. Maybe we have defined something job as financial junior analyst, and HR assignment status is active, and job got assigned. And there is something else called role provisioning. So manual provisioning, which I haven't modified here. So manual provisioning example, if you see here in the previous screen, a HR can request for more number of request a role to a user, right? When HR is hiring an employee, at the role request screen, we have given HR a provision to request for more number of requests to assign more roles to the users, right? How do we get those roles as a requestable to the employee, right? So here, while creating the same thing in the role mappings, so when we created a role mapping here, while creating a role mapping here, so let me create a role. So if you say that if any manager with reports, okay, means someone, if a person who has any people reporting under that person, right? If anyone, I mean, with this condition, what I mean is, I'm saying that if this person is a manager, okay, if this person is a manager, what this manager can do, this manager can, I will select any role. I will select some role. I will just select some role. Okay, I do not exit. That's fine. I'm not auto provisioning it. What I'm saying is, if a person is a manager, that person can request a role for other user. Okay, so if this person can request a role for other user. When I say requestable, it means that if person is satisfying this condition, this person has an access to give this role permission to another user, to any user. Okay, similarly, in more realistic scenario, as I was showing before, if a person's job is human, let us say human resource specialist or human resource business partner. Okay, typically in our company, whoever having this job, we will hire an employees, right? So example, let us say that if in our company, anyone having this job will be hiring an employees. Okay, or if anyone who is in HR department, if anyone who are in HR department, okay, has a provision to assign this role to any user across the company. Okay, so if anyone who is in the department go and hire an employee, then they can request this role to that employee. Okay, does it make sense, or do you want me to demonstrate that one? Okay, so let me quickly demonstrate that. So example, let us see what is the job role of what is the department of Curtis. I'm just going here. So let us see which department this Curtis belongs to. So how do I know which department this Curtis belongs to? So what I will do, I will go to a directory. Just go to directory, and then I'll just search for his name. Okay, Curtis Fiat department is benefit US. Okay, so what I will do, if department is benefits US, okay, department is benefits US, okay, department benefits US, then if any person who is in benefits US can request this role to any user. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Let me give some valid user. So RB something with yeah, RB HR specialist data requestable. Then I'm going to save and close. Okay. So now Curtis Fiat, I'm not running those two processes. I'm taking chance. So as Curtis Fiat belong to the benefits US. So when Curtis Fiat go and hire a new employee, okay, as Curtis Fiat belong to benefits US department, Curtis Fiat when create an employee, this Curtis Fiat can assign the newly created role to this user. Okay, so let's test. MP1. Just giving some random things. Next. So yeah, I'm not giving any criteria here. So I'm going next. Going to next. So here, role request employee will be assigned because that person is not satisfying, not in that job role, that other one is not coming up automatically. But here, as Curtis Fayette belongs to Benefit US department, that person can request a role to the user. What role that person can request to the user? We have added the Rainbow HR specialist role. So see that this was not there in this list before. Now it came up in this list because we have given option as requestable for this role to anyone who is in Benefits US department. As Curtis Fayette is Benefit US department and Curtis Fayette is trying to hire an employee, and we have given the access as requestable to to people in Benefit US department, that this person can request RBHR specialist role for this user. And now we can assign this role to the user.
Lakshmi, the other rules are coming because there are other mapping rules.
Yes, the other mapping rules.
Okay.
Okay. I know one has created by Manoj. So yeah, Manoj has created this role, this mapping rule by giving requestable option as well. So when Manoj created this role, he gave the option as requestable, auto provision, no, not auto provision, requestable and self-requestable. I think that's what's coming here. Right, so that's what I intended to. Okay, so with that, role provisioning is done. There's one more thing called self-requestable. When I talk about the approval workflows, I will talk about the delegation rules and self-requestable options. So with that, I will conclude this role provisioning, and I wanted to cover, as anyways we have discussed about enterprise scheduler, I wanted to talk few more things about that, and then we can conclude today's session and we can start freshly tomorrow, beginning with the inbound integrations. Okay, so
Lakshmi, can for an already hired person, can we change the job? Like
yeah, we can do it.
Okay, so if we are changing the job, so as you created the mapping, so there was no condition like while hiring only.
So what happens when the job is changed? Whenever this process runs, send pending changes and retro LDAP changes runs, then automatically the role provision rules get executed. So in our previous case, we have, while hiring an employee, we have given a role as a financial junior analyst job. With that job role, the job, that person got the new role assigned automatically. That's good. Later on, after a year, that person got promoted and the financial junior analyst job changed to some different financial manager. When that person become financial manager, what are the mapping rule we created that won't be successful? When the change causes the mapping rule to fail, whenever this process runs, that job role will go away automatically. You get that, what I'm saying? Yeah, this is the job which will automatically execute those mapping rules every day or the night based on how we schedule it. Okay, right. So, and we understood these two jobs are very important to run very frequently to sync the data between these two systems, right? So these two jobs has to be scheduled on daily basis. Okay, how do we schedule a job in enterprise scheduler service? Okay, so we know enterprise scheduler service is this one. Here we have to go to run any job, and we have to use the same window to schedule a job to run on a frequent basis. Okay, so that is what we're going to see now, how to schedule a job to run as per our defined frequency. Okay, to schedule a job, typically we have to schedule here. Click on the schedule new process, and then we can search for our job here. And so if you wanted to run these 2 jobs every night, right, we have to run this job first. After that, we have to run this job, right? Let us say every night at night 12 o'clock, I want to run this job. How do I do that? I will go here, send pending LDAP request, click on OK. Here in this window, decide what parameters we are planning to give to that job. Decide on the parameters, and then click on the advanced. In the advanced tab, you will have a provision to choose other options. Once you decide these are the parameters we have to use, here we have something called schedule. Okay, in the schedule we have defined what frequency we have to run this job. As soon as possible, or using a schedule. When you say using a schedule, so when you want to do that, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, custom, or use a saved schedule. If the schedule is already defined before, we can use that schedule here as well. So if I say in our case we need to run daily, daily it will say like beginning from what time till what time, what is the start date and what is the end date, what is the frequency. If it is daily, every 1 day. I wanted to run every day at beginning from today, midnight. Beginning when midnight means 10 of April 10th, 12 a.m. and my time zone is Eastern time zone. Starting from April 10th, 12 a.m. I wanted to run it to so I can run up to 2023. So something like the 31st to 12 a.m. I am going to run this job. So I'm scheduling this job to run 12 a.m. tonight to up to 3 years. So once the job is complete or once the job is successful, so based on the status, if you want to get the notification, click on the notification and add a criteria here saying that if job is successful, send the notification to this person. Okay, this recipient should be not the email address, that recipient should be the username in the security console.
Lakshmi, let's say if created new schedule, how to register that?
Nothing register. You are doing it means it's registering automatically.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like IBS.
Okay.
Everything happening on the spot.
Let me your on the screen. You show where the incompatibility.
Incompatibility of between different jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the incompatibility, if you want to define that incompatibility, you have to make sure while scheduling the jobs itself, you have to make sure that that incompatible jobs are scheduled as per the timelines, or we have to define that in the request set. So we have something called request set functionality where we can schedule multiple jobs there. And where to avoid that inconsistencies, we can make the jobs to run in a serial manner. It means if first job is completed, then only run the second job and third job and subsequently. So
That's a request, sir. But I just want to know, suppose if sending the LDAP request is running, I don't want the retrieve.
okay, you don't want to run the retrieve LDAP process to run while it's running.
Successful completion of sending, because we are scheduling, right? So only
Right.
after successful, I want to run the retrieve one job.
Right.
So
Right.
it has to be incompatible. That means, meaning when one is running, another one should not run. So
Okay.
where do we say that here? Is there a option?
So whatever condition you just said, right? If it is successful, then only go for next job.
Now that is a part of request set also, but in other way of defining it is like incompatible, set the incompatible.
Correct. I don't see that option anywhere in this ESS screen. So I don't see that option, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I
There
don't
has
see
to
that
be
option.
somewhere, right? Because both cannot run in parallel.
Correct. So I didn't encounter that basically. So whenever I am trying to run any job, so I keep schedules accordingly. Keep at least whatever the timelines that job is going to run, I'm going to keep like that. Or I'll go with the request set. If any jobs I feel that they should not run at same time, I'll go the request set saying the first job runs, then only run the second job, or don't run, something like that. But I will check it out on your question. So how Oracle is handling that specific scenario in Fusion.
Okay.
Let's take note of it. Okay, why it is not adding the notifications here?
Do we have option prior to run, like if you are scheduling like 10 minutes or 15 minutes until completing of the previous run, so new schedule should not be run?
Okay, we have two jobs. Second job should not run after 15 minutes of completion of first job. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the same job. Okay, assume that we are running, we are scheduling one job every 10 minutes, but
you want
yeah.
Okay.
So whatever the previous run has completed, the next schedule should not be run.
Okay, let me come to that using custom schedule. Let me see if we can achieve that with that. So before that, let me copy the So I'm going to send notification to this user and the condition is success or warning or error. So I just want to send it on warning or error. I just want to make it on success. Click on OK. Okay. So click on submit. So it will schedule the job to run every day. That is fine. But I will do the submit, and after this job, I have to run this job as well. Okay. After the successful completion of this job, I want to run this job. So I need to run these two jobs in this order. If I schedule this job now, if I submit it, which will run every day midnight at 12 o'clock, if I submit it, after that, I want to run my retrieve LDAP changes job. Okay, I'm submitting it now. That is okay. So which will run at 12 o'clock. Okay, after this, I wanted to run my retrieve latest LDAP changes job. Okay, so how do I achieve that? Two things. Number one, I can schedule that retrieve latest LDAP job again at different timelines, but it may or may not work because if the first job is running for longer time, that might overlap with the second schedule. So if that is the case, in that case, we have to go with the request set where actually I need to create these two jobs as a set. And I should give a condition that if first job is successful, then only go for a second job, something like that. Okay, so this job is scheduled, and it will go in a wait status saying that it is waiting to run. So it will create two jobs. One is the master job, another one is the child job. Master job is the one which will have all the schedules. Child job is the one which is the next schedule, which is going to be get executed at midnight, 12 o'clock. This is the child job, and it is a master job which will have schedules of everything from the edit schedule. It will have all the schedules beginning from today to 2020. So for any reason, if you wanted to remove a schedule from your total schedules, you can remove it, or you can, if you wanted to have a special schedule, you can add it, something like that. And if you want, you can change the frequency, you can change the frequency as well. Okay, so but our requirement is different. Our requirement is to run these two jobs together, and this job should run only after the completion of the first job. That's our requirement, right? So to meet our requirements, we have to create the request set. To create the request set, we cannot create here. Typically, we have to go to a different screen where we can create the request set. So I will demonstrate the creation of request set and how to create the request set and how we can execute that. So we'll do that. And for now, I'll take the questions. So the previous question I got from someone is, while scheduling it, let us say we are scheduling the send building LDAP request. So I think Prem, you are the one who asked that question, right? So how we can, you want to schedule the same job, right, for some frequency. So maybe let us say you want to schedule this job with the frequency as Holly. And you were saying that once the previous job completes, we have to wait for some time to run the second schedule, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
Basically, concurrent program and compatibility functionality of EBS. That is
right.
what.
Right. Yeah, compatibility functionality. I understood that what we have in the SRS window where we can check the compatibility between two jobs. But that one, I didn't see that in the Fusion specifically. But while creating the request set, let me show the screen. Maybe you get some idea what kind of enhancements they are offering that.
I think these people are referring for the before and after completion. If you can schedule something, maybe 10 minutes. The current request may take 15 minutes. So the next request should submit, once the completion of this the first one. So that kind of feature is available in EBS basically. So do we have such kind of feature in Fusion?
Okay, that one is not possible in this SRS screen for sure. So we don't have that level of control. To look at the status of the previous job, we cannot see it here. To look at the status of previous job, we have something in request set, but it is a request set. Again, we have to combine those jobs together there. So let me go to that setup and maintenance. Custom enterprise scheduler. Basically, we can, these all the custom jobs is segregated by each module: CRM, FSCM, and human capital management. Security specific jobs will be in the human capital management. So I'm going to human capital management. Here we have a provision called, I'll just quickly show you the screens. I won't create the job sets. If you go to create the manage job sets, here typically we can create a job set where we can combine multiple jobs to run together. If anything we have to control based on the status of the previous job, it is the place to do. So I will talk about these things tomorrow. I will just show you the screens, how it looks like, to get some idea to answer your questions. The first job, I'm going to schedule some job. I'm giving this random job. Okay, so I'm just giving some random job. Click OK. So yeah, it is the first job. So what we can do is the first job. Let us stay in this first job. I can add second job. While adding second job, I can say that if first job is error, stop it or go to the next job. So let me add second job as well. So I'm going step ID is 2, means I'm going in serial manner. ASC means they're all security jobs basically. So okay, and then okay, if you see these two jobs here, if you think of these are, let us say, second job should not run until the completion of first job, right? If first job is failed, then stop it, don't go to second. Or if first job is failed, go to second, it's not a problem. Similarly, first job will go with a warning, what to do, stop it or go to the second job, something like that. So this is the whole level of control what we can have when we go with a request set. So this is the level of control what we have out of the SaaS model, and this is what we can control with whatever we have. While error and while warning, and we have serial methodology and parallel methodology of executing the jobs, which I will talk more of tomorrow. So this is the level of control what Oracle has offered out of the box. But if you
select one over here, so when at the time of fail or maybe warning or error, the same program will re-execute, right?
If it is stopped, then it won't execute.
No. If you select on in the drop down.
Okay, yes, it will keep retrying it.
Until
it gets successful. Check mark comes. So typically we won't do that.
Yeah.
So it's two things: success, warning, error, warning, and success. How the control should be. Success is always go to the second step if you go to serial, and we can go with the complex job sets, combination of serial and parallel as well. I will try to demonstrate it tomorrow, and we can do like that. So if it is an incompatible programs, it will be advisable to go with the request set. But if there is any other option, I don't see any option in this ESS window how how to make two jobs is incompatible. But as SAS is out of the box model, Oracle, I'm not sure how does it work. So let me check it out in that perspective. But this is what.
Yeah, Lakshmi, something to do in JDeveloper.
But if we don't have, as this instance is a SaaS model, in the SaaS model, we don't have option to have our custom ESS job to get created using JDeveloper and deploy it here. We cannot do that.
Okay.
Yeah, using JDeveloper we can do that, but we have to deploy it in this application, right? To deploy it, we don't have access in this instance, the SaaS model. If you go to the PaaS model, yes, we have that level of customization, like how to control the relationship between different jobs. We can do that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I will talk about this request set tomorrow with some couple of examples, and we will to see how we'll see the request set creation, and we'll try executing some request sets, and we will see how the notifications are coming to the respective emails. And by tomorrow, I will come up with some something about incompatibility. I will see if I can get some thing from support portal. Probably I will get, because it's a standard functionality. Else I'll check with Oracle if there's any provision for that. Okay.
Thank you, Lakshmi. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye, Lakshmi. Thank you.